Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Am I okay? Am I reaching? Sound reaching you?
It's okay.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Ramayam Dadati Swamadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Sam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Raghunatham Shri Visakha Priya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Bhakta Kanchana Gaurami Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Hare Krishna.
There's a meeting those devotees again who came yesterday. And others who didn't come yesterday. Pranams to all of you. Thank you for coming. Hare Krishna. So coming for today's spectrum, it is part of a 2-day discussion which was initiated yesterday at Alagarpur's home. The subtitle is how to refine, resolve and reform our bhakti. How to refine, resolve and reform our bhakti. So, yesterday those devotees who came can endorse that we discuss more about refining process, which is more to do with our sadhana bhakti. Right? So we refine something through sadhana and we discuss 10 different aspects which we call as a Dashamula Sadhana Sutras. Various ways, various realizations, insights and tips which we can all adopt as sadhakas. We are all sadhakas here, right? Which we can again revisit in our lives so that the gravitational force working on downward degrading our sadhana with the power of mind may again become revived and we can again feel re-enthused, right, to take up the necessary steps to move forward in a more focused manner, in a more progressive manner. So we discussed about the refinement process yesterday. Today we will talk more about resolving and more about, and then after we will talk about reforming our bhakti. So, you will change the slide, Today? You will change the slide? Should we get it here? Yeah.
Down.
So there are three parts to this discussion today. One is we will share the concept of what is called the GPS of consciousness. The second one is going to be analysis of variegatedness, that is part 2. And the third part is analyzing variegatedness of devotional service, and third is the carry messages, which hopefully we can take something with us away after the discussion. Alright? So, we are on a journey. Spiritual life is all about we are on a journey. We have come from different places, some from India, different parts of India, some from who are locals here, and there are no people from other planets, I believe, here today. But at least we are in a vast part of this planet, we are here, nestled in this beautiful room, rather than down at here. But yes, the fact remains that we all are on a different spiritual journey. This is not our first life, and I don't think it will be our last life either. We don't know. But yes, so where is our journey going to? We are going to the promised land, right? In our culture, in every culture, we have that if we faithfully live by the tenets, the doctrines of our process of bhakti, as beautifully handed over down to us by our beloved acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, then we are on the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Marga, the most powerful marg which takes us to the feet of, it ends where? The feet of Srila Prabhupada. Right? That's our promised journey. So, just think the possibility. Now, since we are on a journey, and the goal is Vrindavan networks, Lotus Feet, Vaikuntha Dham, Krishna Loka, right? So we are somewhere on the mark, and think about possibility if Krishna can pick up the mobile and give us a ring. Okay? So Dwarikadhish, where are you now? Like a friend can tell us, right? Friend can ask us. If you're telling the friend, okay, I'm coming to meet you, so he will say, hey, where have you reached now? Right? So say I'm just about half an hour away from this thing. I'm at just under the exit. So if the friend understands, okay, my friend will take about half an hour to expected time. So by giving a ring and telling where we are, the friend can estimate the estimated time of arrival to our journey. So who's our friend here? Krishna is a friend. Suridam Sarva Bhutana. Right? So he's also our best friend, and at the same time very eagerly waiting for all of us to come. You can't even imagine how eager he is to have us back home, all his beloved children. And if he gives us the rain, trying to find out where we are, right? So as you can see here in the slide, there are different people. We are at different levels in this journey. So somebody is here, so close to the promised land. Somebody is there, somebody is there, somebody is there. So we are all somewhere in this journey, right? So what it will take for us to understand how we can actually speed up this journey. And that comes to understanding what is called a spectrum of our consciousness. What is the meaning of the word spectrum? Something which we all have heard this word many times. You put white light in a prism and then you get a display of rays, right? So, or any element you take sodium, you take potassium, you take iron, you take molybdenum, you take uranium. Each element will have its own specific spectrum, correct? So the spectrum is very specific. That means every element will have its own unique spectrum. Similarly, we all of us who are sitting here, we also have a unique type of spectrum which we reveal to our consciousness. Right? That's the understanding. And once you understand the spectrum, you understand what is it that makes the spectrum the way it looks like that. So we will show you how it looks. So the beautiful quote of Prabhupada I want to, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to read that now as this. Devotional service from Bhagavatam, 3rd canto. See, devotional service is the mode of modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness can be divided into 81 categories. Okay? Bhakti, till it becomes pure, what we call as Shuddha Bhakti, or Keval Bhakti, or Prema Bhakti, right? That is a pure, what you call unalloyed, that means there is no mixing there. So it only has one spectrum, beautiful spectrum, one spectrum of pure love. But right now, our spectrum is now in a, what is it, in a lot of admixture of unwanted things are there, right? So how many possibilities? There Prabhupada says that there are 81 categories possible. There are different devotional activities such as hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering prayer, rendering service and surrendering everything, and each one of them can be divided into the 3 qualitative categories. So we have 9 processes, Navida Bhakti, and we have 3 modes. So hearing in the mode of ignorance and passion, right? Archana Vidhi in the mode of passion ignorance, right? So each activity in the 3 modes can be there. There is hearing in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, and in the mode of goodness. Similarly, there is chanting in the mode of ignorance. Like chanting in the mode of ignorance, how is that? Can you chant in the mode of ignorance? Can we? We all do that. Yeah, because we are in ignorance, we don't know. That we don't, because we are in ignorance, we don't know we are chanting in ignorance. We discussed yesterday something about that. You're getting in the morning, 5 o'clock, right, and you sit down for japa, and how do you go like that then? So we keep dozing, we keep sleeping, and the mind goes wandering here and there. So Tamagun is still not gone away, right, from the previous night's sleep. So we are chanting in the mode of ignorance, right? So similarly, there are chanting in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. 3 multiplied by 9 equals 27, and again multiplied by 3 becomes 81. One has to transcend, the last one is very important. One has to transcend all such mixed materialistic devotional service in order to reach the standard of pure devotional service. Right? So today's discussion, my dear friends, is insight into this purport. We have tried to sort of through experience over the last years that we have been in this beautiful society of ISKCON and observing the world around us and the various types of sadhakas, including ourselves, we could unravel about different types of bhakti which we have seen. So we are going to project some of these things and see how we can analyze them, resolve, make some resolutions, and then see how we can reform and come to the level of PDS, standing for Pure Devotional. Our goal is we can only reach the promised land when we practice Shuddha Bhakti. Till we are practicing mixed devotional service, we will remain on the mark, no doubt, right? But we will not reach the promised land, right? And that's what it is. Okay, let's take it further. So this is a spectroscope. The spectrum there, you can see there are so many colors here. Each color is different shades, right? Just like I said, Bhakti is in different shades, mode of practice ignorance. So this is something more visual to understand. Now we come to the real thing here. This is a process of refinement. We discussed this yesterday. You can see the diamond there, right? Does it look like a diamond? Looks like a piece of stone, right? But it's a rough diamond. What it becomes? It becomes polished. Srila Prabhupada, our beloved Gurudev, was the new Vrindavan. And one devotee inquisitively said, Prabhupada, so they make it Prabhupada's palace of gold, right? And there was in a high spirit of wanting to make it the most beautiful structure ever for Srila Prabhupada's pleasure, so that he can sit there, stay there, and write his books. Devotee said, Prabhupada, I have heard that in Dwarka there were no lights. There are columns and pillars of rubies and emeralds, right? Diamonds. I said, yes. I said, my devotees are like diamonds. And they would illuminate the entire world. Prabhupada ki, right? So Prabhupada wanted us to become from, but can we illuminate the world with that? To illuminate the world, each of you and me, all of us sitting in this room and all the devotees ISKCON worldwide, have to turn from where? From this to, right? That means we have to go through a rigorous process of purification. Because this is our potential. It is not our potential. This is covered, this is mixed, this is our potential. Right? Water was the process, it can become very pure. Correct. So have you all understood the concept? Right? Is it clear? The part 1 is clear? If you understand the part 1 clearly, then we can go to some of the details of analysis of various types of bhakti. We take to the next part now. Okay. So with different types of names you will find, beautiful names. So this is called as, this bhakti is called as what? Inclusive bhakti. You heard of that word? Right. So we will share with you different shades of bhakti which are something which we see around going on around us. So what is the meaning of intrusive bhakti? Right? When other family members, friends or devotees get too much closely involved to the level of interference, the word interference to be underlined, right, with a person's couple of family. So, we are practicing our bhakti, but we are in a social setup. We have our close ones, our mother-in-law, father-in-law, friends, maybe sisters, etc., right? And they may be practicing bhakti, they may not be practicing bhakti, depends, we don't know, right? But because we are connected with them, their viewpoints, their attitudes towards us and towards bhakti can have a very deep impact on us, right? And because we are very closely connected with them, how they feel about what we are doing and what they say about what we are doing and how we are doing it, etc., can have a lot of impact, right? So, we do not always get the right inputs from the family people. Do we always do that? Get that? Right. We don't always get. Sometimes we get very positive inputs. Oh, you're doing very nice. You're not in a person. But very few people will say that. Usually the people have some comments. Why are you wasting your time? 2 hours per day. Can you do something better? You go to temple every Saturday, Sunday. Take rest. Now take rest is like a very nice advice. Na? How concerned to take rest? He's so concerned about me, right? So even though that may not be a bad advice, but sometimes is it very truly beneficial for me to just take Saturday, Sunday rest at home and miss out on all the nice things happening over there in the temple? Will it be good advice in that way? Is it spiritually anukul or pratikul? Pratikul. Right? So this is just one stray example, and there are many such examples which are there. Even friends can do that, and even to share, we have seen even newly, married couples coming to one girl coming to their house, and the mother-in-law, as soon as the girl comes in, she feels insecure about her love with her son getting now divided. So there is something like a sibling rivalry is there. We all know this term. She also feels now there is a rival to her love. So she may not really allow the. So this particular case, this is another extreme case. Of course, cannot happen all the time. Extreme case it can happen where the mother-in-law was so possessive of her son, and she didn't want to lose him and the emotional control she had over her son, right? So she never allowed the relationship between the new girl and the boy develop into a nice, wholesome, congenial, harmonious relationship, right? So even if they went out for a stroll, she would go out with them. So she left with no private time for them, right? With the result that this girl remained emotionally very, very dry because she did not get any affection from her husband. And she fell a prey to the cheap love shown by some other boy, right? And it ended up ultimately as a divorce, as a separation, right? And the boy married again, and again he married. The mother-in-law was into the same thing, but now the boy was wiser. That I lost my good wife, very well chosen wife. She was very good in so many ways. I lost her. And then we had to take very concrete steps to see that the mother-in-law does not do what? Interfere. Right? So, this sort of intelligence is important. If that is allowed to happen, weakening of family bonds can take place and misunderstandings and loss of trust can take place among loved ones. Right? So, no, not the women only, girls also. Don't be a mama's boy or mama's girl. Right? Because after marriage, the boy can be too inclined towards the mother because of, the mother and the son, they bond very well. But sometimes even after marriage, the girl may still keep her one leg in the previous family. And what did the husband say today? What have you cooked today? What did your mother-in-law say? Right? How much money are you earning? How much? What is happening? Everything is being connected to Andhra or Guntur, somewhere. Somewhere everything is, all the news are going from Columbus to somewhere else. So it's like a CCTV happening, where she can see everything happening there. Right? And she gives her inputs from there. Hey, you should tell him. You cannot do this. Right? So that lady is actually the boss. Right? So in this way, this can happen in Indian families more because in India we have such a thick bond is going on. Right? So this can masquerade as love and concern, but it can be mixed with those sort of inputs into our family. It may not be truly beneficial. Therefore, unless the couple, the boy and the girl, individually and collectively, are very sharp to understand that while they can take inputs without losing the power of discrimination, is this something good for our relationship? Is it good for us individually and collectively? Will it really enhance our journey? Right? Unless they are very, very astutely sharp in their understanding, they can get swayed off this way or other way. Right? This is what the Bhakti is called, right? So one may focus on the primary bond. The bond between after marriage, this becomes the primary bond, husband and the wife, right? And other bonds between the mother and the father and the friends and the cousins and the sister, everything, it becomes what? If you don't neglect, we respect, but we focus on what will help more the primary bond. Is it okay? Right? And therefore, we may sometimes have to be a little more diplomatic, right? And see that we do those things which keeps our Krishna consciousness in complete focus and not allowing interference or intrusion of other members to unfavorably affect our Krishna consciousness. Is it okay? Yeah, friends. So when I say family, I mean friend. I mean anybody who's in close proximity in a relationship. Could be friends, could be someone in the workplace, very close, could be someone in the in a social circle, right? Someone who has the power to influence us. Okay? Have you seen this sort of happening things in actual life? Yeah? You have seen it happening? Okay.
Actually, many of us come from Indian background or from wherever we are. We understand that we had a pious background. Some of us were Christians, some of us were Hindus, some of us whatever. but we were from pious background, off and on visiting our places of worship. However, there was something which attracted us when we came to ISKCON. Different than what was happening. This was like a Hindu temple which we heard of. Oh, there is some Hindu temple. Why don't you go and visit? Something was different when we started coming to ISKCON temples. So what was that? What attracted some of us to ISKCON temple? Prasad, I know that will be the answer. But besides Prasad, people from all religions were there. People come and talk to us. Humility. Sincerity in following. I like that answer because in pious background we all follow something. They will come and break a coconut, or we'll put some agarbatti, or we'll put some ghee lamp over there, and that's where it is. Doesn't go beyond that. But when we came to ISKCON, and we thought that was bhakti. And I am a bhakta, you know. I'm a Durga bhakta, Shiva bhakta, whatever. But I thought I was a great bhakta. When I came to ISKCON, the thing which was striking most to me was what? The definition of bhakti itself. What is that? Tivrena bhakti yogena. What's the starting of that? Akama sarva kamoha moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena means we are talking. Tivra means we understand Sanskrit, Hindi. Tivra means intense bhakti. So we like that, and that's why we came. We didn't want to do what? Just be hanky-panky type of devotee. We wanted to do something more. And that's why we decided that we want to commit. Otherwise we would have been happy. Our parents were religious people. Background was all very pious. But we liked that. That is why we came over here. So sometimes they say that bhakti is like chasing a what? Chasing a deer. Hard and difficult. You know, a lion chasing a deer. Not we chasing a deer. Lion chasing a deer. It is hard. It is difficult. You have to, it might be time consuming. However, once you get the deer, you can feast on it for a long time. Right? However, other processes are like what? Lion chasing a mouse. Also hard, also difficult, but the mouse can also keep going here, there. Now that could also take a long time. But after you get it also, it nahi bharta. It doesn't touch you or satisfy you, and so much you get. Doesn't, what do you say? Yeah, satisfy your hunger. It doesn't do that. So that is why when we read in the Bhagavatam, when Vyasadeva wrote so many scriptures, he wrote so many scriptures, right? But he was not feeling that satisfaction. So when his spiritual master, when Narad Muni came, and he inquired from him that why am I not feeling satisfied? I wrote so many Puranas, wrote Upanishads, wrote this, wrote that. I am not feeling satisfied. And what did Narad tell him? Narad Muni told him that because you are not describing the glories of pure devotional service. If you describe the pure devotional service, glories of that, then you will feel very, very satisfied within your heart. So the importance is not only of bhakti. Bhakti is there, but as we said, so many types of bhakti would be there. But oh yeah, we don't have the laptop. No, my order was slightly. Already we don't have a laptop, no?
This is the laptop actually.
The order is different in money. Okay, I'll just take this. No. So sometimes because we come from this type of background, we get confused that what type of bhakti I should be doing. Too many non-devotee close interactions happen with them. We might hear about Krishna Katha conversations, latest rumors, institutional politics, overindulgence in social media. Because of all this, we come into bhakti with a particular mindset. But what happens ultimately? We become confused. We start off on a good note, but then what? In the long run, we feel that okay, like water finds its level, we settle down with some different levels of bhakti. So we have to understand that bhakti is not something which we need to get confused about. It is very clear. Like Narad Muni told Vyasadeva, too many speakers we may land up hearing, too many principles we hear, and then I don't know whether I should practice bhakti like this or I should practice bhakti like that. What am I supposed to be doing? I lose my clarity of mind. So we have to be very, very careful reading too many varieties of non-devotional literatures and other similar appearing non-ISKCON literature. First we come and we know that we should read Bhagavatam, we should read Bhagavad Gita, we should read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then we feel I finished reading all that, now what to do? Some new books keep coming, so they appear as what? Para-spiritual sometimes. They appear like that. Like for example, if you know in Chaitanya Charitamrita the story is given of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. When he was traveling to Jagannath Puri, one very staunch Ram Bhakta told him that I would like to accompany you, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and I would like to carry your baggage. So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami said, I don't like all this type of thing. I will carry my own luggage and I will go. So he said, no, please allow me to serve you. I will not disturb you. Continuously I will tell you Ram Katha. So the whole journey he was discussing Ram Katha. When they reached Jagannath Puri, they went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both of them offered obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when they offered obeisances, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave great affection and attention to Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. But he didn't even look at this Brahman. And apparently you would feel that Mahaprabhu is the Lord. And he is such a great devotee. Great devotee would get some attention from the Lord. But he didn't do. Why? Because in the heart of this Brahmin, the desire was what? That someday I want to become Ram. You don't want to serve Ram, you wanted to become Ram. And that only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could detect. So there was some confusion in the people that when you don't know what is right and wrong, everything appears same. But there might be some tinge of Mayavad happening somewhere in some narrations or some discourses. So we have to be very careful in the process of becoming broad-minded, that we are not very narrow-minded people. Okay, we will only do this or only do that. But still we have to do that in a protective way, so that our bhakti doesn't get confused. Because we don't know that a tinge of it here and there would become like milk touched with the lips of a serpent. Would have poisonous effect. Means poison could kill you, but the words from this poisonous effect would be, it could kill our faith in the process of bhakti, right? So we cannot afford to get confused. So some suggested remedies would be what? That even in ISKCON speakers, there could be people who are appearing, like recently we got a message from our Bombay temple that such and such devotee is there. He is speaking with tilak and kanti and he is posing that he is a member of our congregation, but he is not. And he is collecting money on the name of that. So beware, do not encourage. And if you don't know, he may invite you and garland you on the stage and click picture with you to show that he is affiliated with the devotee of Radha Gopinath Bhakta Samaj. So lot of messages came about that beware, beware. So it might appear externally. Okay, this is the way that is. So we have to be very, very choosy sometimes and very discriminative. Not lose the power of discrimination. So we fix up our favorite. As yesterday we were discussing, we could hear many people, but sometimes there will be some people who will really inspire us to serve, to surrender and develop Vaishnava virtues. So such people should become what? Our regular people whom we can hear from, right? And also we can focus more on books by and about Prabhupada, who is our gold standard in spiritual life. Other books could be reference books. You know, there are some textbooks and there are some reference books. So we could use other books as textbooks, but all that we needed to know, Prabhupada has put in the books which are the core books which we have. Right? 5 books were recommended: Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. So you might feel, oh, I read all that. Now I can read something else. But it is said that unless you know these books backside, upside, you can quote, don't feel the confidence and the daring I can venture and try to.
Prabhupada said we should read these books 7 times before we die. Anybody here who's finished 7 times? Yes. So that's the expectation of Prabhupada.
That, and today another threat has become our media. You may not read books, but so much information keeps coming on the media, mobile. Some pop-up will come that, oh, Bhakti inspiration or something. You feel, oh, sounds quite familiar. It's all about Bhakti ultimately, or some Vaishnava quality development, something. And then you go into the website and you go into that, and then what happens? 100 political news you will hear, some juice, and you feel very attracted because it's something uncommon, something different from surrender to Krishna. You are not the body, you are the soul, something little different. So the mind starts latching onto such websites, such information that might be coming. So we have to, in this digital age, we have to protect our mind, our consciousness, our heart, our faith from getting confused through these different resources. So sometimes, as we were talking yesterday, that let us use the digital things. Digital detox means use it for what it is needed. There was a time when there were no mobiles. Still people were communicating with each other, right? But the net has become so much. It has become like the net of internet, we say, or the web of websites. What do nets and webs do? Entangle. And the more you try to free yourself, more difficult it becomes. So today, to confuse people and to give wrong things, there is a variety available more than the books on the mobile. Just it's at the click of a button available. So that is why we must protect ourselves very, very carefully against especially this mobile asur, as we say. Because everything wrong, there are good benefits also, but if we are not careful and using it for limited use, we could burn our hands very badly.
Stress. Can stress affect devotees?
Yes.
Chanting Hare Krishna should be transcending all stress, no? Chanting Hare Krishna means manas prayate iti mantra. That's the meaning of the mantra. No? But sometimes our 16th round itself was a stress, no? Right? So, yes. So, devotees like anyone else are affected by stressors. Depending on our stress threshold, some stressors can be overwhelming and put us off balance and manifest in unfavorable ways. So these are points which are being spoken here to make us aware of various things which can affect the path of bhakti. Right? We are practicing something fine, but health is a stressor. Children can be stressor. Now these are not, please not say as unwanted. Children are not unwanted. Children are unwanted, right? But they may be demanding. They may have their own ways of doing things. They may have their school, then our jobs will be there, right? So the way modern life is designed these days, the way we live our lives, we constantly live under some sort of a exaggerated stress, right? And the stress is perceived such a way that it has to come out somewhere, right? We explain what is written in the first line. Trivial irritant factors at home, office, close ones, and even temple, right? Do you feel yourself sometimes snapping and getting angry at just for small things at home? How many of you have experienced that? कि छोटी छोटी बात पे गुस्सा आ जाता है, पता है ना? It happens to us, right? Now we are all devotees. That doesn't mean that we are a bad devotee or a fallen devotee. Right? It doesn't mean that. It is just that the situation around us is very overwhelming, too demanding. We have lack of resources, lack of time, lack of energy. If when you have less resources, less time, less energy, and so much to be achieved in that, that creates what? Stress. There's a difference between demand and supply. The demand from us to do things accomplished is very large. The supply of energy, time, and resources is very, very small. Therefore, we often get stressed out. And the stress will come out oftentimes in very, very unfavorable manner, sometimes in ugly manner. And therefore, those who are living at the closest in the family may be taking the brunt of that particular thing. Right? I told you no! Huh? So, poor fellow, suddenly, I told you no, don't put the glass here. Every day I have to tell you the same thing again and again. Huh? It sounds familiar? It happens in everybody's house. Right? So small stupid things, they're not worth even 5 paisa. Right? But they can become major cause, and you react like that, the opposite person will say, thank you very much for shouting at me. Hare Krishna, that's so sweet, that's so sweet. What does that person do? You only understand, And there they goes on and on, there's fire, more fire, you put more gas, more fire, more gas. And then a small thing can turn into a big fight in the house. And you realize afterwards when the fight is over, why are we fighting? You're fighting over something so insignificant. Because the adrenaline, the cortisol, the stress hormones, they create inflammation in our system. They get inflammation in our brain. The brain becomes inflamed, and therefore we lose the power to control our emotions. Right? And therefore we throw up in uncensored manners. Unfiltered expressions of emotions can come out. Right? So we need to be aware that there are pitfalls in our bhakti only. Because after this sort of fight takes place, the mind becomes disturbed for so many hours. Is it not? It's not like after 5 minutes everything is over. Sometimes it can escalate and sometimes for a day or two, sometimes maybe for a longer time. After a fight, what is the first thing that happens after a fight in the house? Curfew. Curfew. Right? You take a beanbag and start chanting. Right? That is not chanting, but that is just doing something. Right? There's a curfew for 2 days, 4 days. So please remember this one, that stressors will be there. So we need to know our triggers. What triggers unexpectedly irritable responses in our dealing with our family? We need to know that. Somebody is sick, you know that I will get stressed out. Suppose parents in the house are there and they have their own needs and demands. You know that additional factor of taking care of elderly people or sick people will cause stress, because that is not the routine thing. It is something which is new. So it will add more pressure on already weak system to where additional thing will be there. Right? Children say, guests are coming at home. You found that suppose there is a program in the house, right? 50 people are going to come to the house. Does the whole day go very smooth? You will see that on that day there will be what? Prema Kalaha. Kalaha. But it will be Prema Kalaha. You are want to serve the Vaishnavas. 50 of them are coming. You are very happy about that. But the prasadam, dari bichane ka hai, offering, deities have to be taken care of. They have to be decorated at least on that day nicely, Other days, maybe little 80%, 60%. On that day, they have to be 100% looking nice. Right? So how much do we do in one day? And then guests are coming and then the children are saying, Mama, all sorts of things. So guests, too many programs, temple programs, service commitments, and not to talk of financial stress. Right? Everybody in America has that. Right? In India also, of course, right? These are constant stressors. You take a mortgage, if you pay for 20 years, 30 years, You're constantly taking a life of stress, which is unavoidable. What can you do? You take in a house, you have to pay 20 years, unless you buy your own thing, it is very difficult. Right? So we are living so that stress, my dear friends, please be conscious of this, that these are stressors. You are not a bad person, neither is your wife or husband a bad person. It is not, nobody is bad here. It is just the influence of stress. So let's not tag. You are always registered. You will always get angry. But he's not getting angry. That situation is very overwhelming. So situation is to be blamed, not the person. Okay? Situation is to be blamed, not the person. Right? So in this way, if you are able to accommodate the fact that this is a real life situation, yeah, it will happen like this. Right? And therefore we reconcile with each other and do not give in to. So how do we manage this stress? This is the problem. Right? Can we resolve something? Can we make some resolutions? Our today's topic is how to diagnose and then rest some treatment also. Only diagnosis is not enough, right? So after diagnosing, we can try. So, like you were suggesting somebody that in the house, if you keep just some soft kirtan going on, right? Harinam, some melodious, nice kirtan going on. Maybe you use some lavender spray, right? Supposed to have chamomile, supposed to have some calming effect. The research has been done. Devotees can also try this, no problem. Right? Right? So, sometimes taking outings with some places to unwind. We're constantly in that environment of stress, constantly day in, day out, that monotony and rut of life which goes on. Sometimes we just have to cut off and say, okay, for 2 days I'm just going to New Vrindavan or some other place with 2-3 other families and just without any agenda. Right? Not the laptop, don't take the laptop with you. Mobile, if you can avoid mobile, best. Right? Nobody will call you, don't call anybody else. You are just with yourself, right? In solitude. Sadhaka in spiritual life, actually originally sadhakas would perform sadhana in solitude. Right? But here in crowded cities like New York, this and that, very solitude. But solitude helps. Just be with yourself. Quiet. Right? So, take guidance. Many devotees are financially quite naive. Right? They may know how to plan their spiritual progress, but not oftentimes our devotees are not so good at managing their finances. So, there's a great need in ISKCON for having more people like this, but there are some devotees who are pretty much well versed in this field of knowledge, just like there are doctors. So when you have a problem, you call the devotee doctor. Prabhuji, I have this thing, what is to be done? Right? So as a community, our community of devotees will need all such help. Right? We also need help of people who can guide us financially, of how to lead a life whereby we can take care of our immediate needs, create some savings, do some budgeting properly. Right? So some guidance will awfully, so this way we can probably reduce. And of course, if a lot of stress is there, again, the community response is very important. And what we like over here, like in Detroit also, we see, and we met some devotees yesterday and today, we find that people are happy that they are feeling a sense of community over here. And that is so crucial for our existence here. So crucial, right? Because you cannot practice bhakti alone. You need a group. Practice solitude for some time is another thing, but you cannot remain in solitude all the time. Right? And then Maya will say, okay, you are coming, chalo. So, the community approach is good. If you find trustworthy friends here, senior, trustworthy, and mature. Generally, that would take place if there is an official counselor system, mentor system like that. Right? It may not be there in an official way, but in an unofficial way, in principle, we need to find somebody who can go and share our life with. Right? So sharing in confidence, the stress has to come out somewhere. Prabhu, this is going on. Mata, this is going on. Right? So some mature good advice. Some, because in joint families earlier, there would be an elder brother, elder sister, or a grandparent who would, we would share life with them. But now in this nuclear family system, we have to fall back on whom? Now our real family is this. This is our real family. Right?
We need each other. So a sense of interdependency is very important. I need you, and if you need me, hopefully I'll be there for you also. We all need each other because we are in such a powerful process. We need to hold our hands together to go on this path of progress. Okay? So this is some ways in which we can reduce the amount of stress in our life. Right? Of course, this also helps. Number 4 is to lead a more focused. Yesterday we talked about this to some extent, right? Visible sadhana, right? So try and see. Sometimes just finishing a rounds in the morning may reduce your stress, right? You see that on the day when the rounds seem to go beyond 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m. of the rounds are remaining. What happens to our? The whole day goes in very, very stressful, right? So therefore, please practice a regulated lifestyle. And ultimately, Krishna has said very clearly, Yukta Ahara, Yukta Vihara, Yukta Chetasya Karmashu, Yukta Swapnava Bodhasya, Bhavati Dukha. Right? So what Yukta means, what? Yukta means regulation. So can we become more regulated? That proper time management of the things we need to do will also reduce what? Stress. Right? Some take B12. This may help. Yoga and pranayam can help also. Right? Just I have friends of mine who are now going into what is called as yoga nidra. When they get too much, I got professors, doctors who are there, leading a very stressful life, and very demanding lifestyle which is be there. So yoga nidra is a process by which you can just lie down for 15 minutes, and if you go to yoga nidra, for 15 minutes you get the rest equal to 2 hours, 3 hours. So the body gets refreshed with the sleep equal to 3 hours with the only time spent of 20 minutes. It's called as what? Yoga nidra. So someone should train you. If you don't get trained, then you may go to only nidra and not yoga nidra. You go to bed, you go into nidra and get up after 3 hours, right? That's not yoga nidra. Hey, Baba, I should have been caught up. What happened? So yoga nidra. Chanting may not distress us. So we don't use chanting as because of distressing. Right? Chanting is a purification. Right? But it helps to keep our spiritual life focused and strengthen our bhava. Right? So this, what is this called as? This second of bhakti is called as what? First was confused bhakti. Confused bhakti. Second was confused. Third was what? Stressed bhakti. Are you able to connect to these different styles of bhakti which you perform? Are they familiar?
Yes.
Have you all going through that?
Yes.
Right. So hopefully this session may come to your help. Hare Krishna. We'll take the 4th one now.
So they say that, one of the ways to get stressed out, when we get stressed out, how does it, one of the important things is what? Planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? If you are a good planner, there is less possibility of getting stressed out for anything. You plan a visit somewhere, or you have a plan of a project, or anything what it is there. So planning is a very, very important part. If we are not planners, maybe we should become. Ultimately, Krishna, we can plan, man proposes, God disposes, that is one thing. But still, from our side, we should make an attempt to have some outline that what do I want to do in life? What do I want to do today? If I just get up and I say, let's see how the day goes, it just flows. And 100 things will come, or how the week goes. But if I know that, this week this is there, so many guests are going to come, this month is going to be like this, then I plan accordingly, and then I can avoid getting stressed out. Because ultimately we are doing bhakti for what? It is susukham kartum avyayam. It's an enjoyable process, and if I cannot be happy doing bhakti, then you are losing out on the very purpose of what you are trying to do bhakti. You will not feel pleasure and you will not last long. Because how long can a stressed out person, continue for a long time? So please understand, this is a small thing, but an important thing. Okay, if we are getting too stressed out, then let us try to, realign our lives in such a way that we could reduce the stress and become happy and enjoy the process of bhakti. Because even if we are appearing stressed out, tomorrow our children will see us that, oh, my parents are always stressed out. And because of whom? This Krishna. I hate him. Because their stress they are taking out on me, and they will never become devotees. And if the children see the example, okay, my parents are always happy doing something. So what are they happy doing? I also want to be happy. So automatically they will become natural followers of it. Okay? So that is stressed out bhakti. Next one is very, very important. Please. Right? When we come to, as we said, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we are very strict about everything. I have to do this, I don't have to do this, I must be careful of this. So, after some time, what happens? Somebody told Srila Prabhupada that there is one problem with your disciples. What is that? They are not sufficiently scared of Maya. They are not sufficiently, because then we start feeling, okay, now I am senior. Now, it's okay, if I do something, it will not happen. But as it is always said that practicing bhakti is like a kabaddi game. I don't know what, you may not know what is kabaddi here. Everybody knows? Yeah, you are trying to get the person from the opposite side, but sometimes you only get pulled away. So, it is very, very, sometimes scary. Because we say, Maya is not expert. Maya is super expert. She knows the weak point of each devotee. And we might have given up some bad habits when we became devotees. But after a few years, what happens? Sometimes we get off guard. We get off guard that now I am established devotee. Now everybody knows that I am senior. In fact, I am guiding so many people. So I can become off guard and I can take some indulge in some things or do, and nobody will even come to know about it, or nothing will happen. So what happens? We might have come from unholy background before we became devotees. Had some bad practices, this thing. But Krishna doesn't mind that, because we are giving it up and we are coming to Krishna. Right? But sometimes our Shaktasur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives analogy of what each demon represents. He gets reactivated. Shaktasur represents unholy bad habits. The ghostly demons. We don't even realize how it is coming. So there is two concepts. One is, I am a devotee. How many of us feel I am a devotee? We all are devotees, right? We are devotees. And second concept is what? I am trying to be a devotee. I am what? I am trying to be a devotee. And how does that affect us? When we feel that I am a devotee, few things start happening to us. One is, I am already a devotee, so I become off guard. Second is, sometimes we start doing niyamagraha. What is that? Follow things for the sake of following, mechanically. We just do things ritualistically. Oh, Thursday, I have to go to the temple. Sunday, I have to do this. The service is there, I have to do that. I have to get up in the morning, chant my rounds. I just do things for the sake of doing things. Right? Because I think I am a devotee now. But if I am trying to be a devotee, then what I am doing, as we discussed yesterday, that there are what? There are some people who are dealers, there are jugglers, there are jewelers, misleaders, smugglers, wranglers, quarrelers. But we are what as devotees? Strugglers. We stop struggling. We stop struggling to become better. We stop struggling because we think, hey, this is it. Now what better than this can I become? I'm doing whatever has to be done. There's no need to struggle anymore. So we stop struggling. Third thing that could happen to us if I start feeling I am a devotee is, we might sometimes start wrongly philosophizing to others and to ourselves also. What will we say? Ultimately we have to be practical, Prabhu. Come on, We can't be so narrow-minded. We have to do certain things. Everybody is doing, people will you will become redundant if you become so like this, So all sorts of things people will also tell us. We will philosophize to ourselves, convince our mind, convince others also by going back to our bad habits. Fourth thing that could happen is what? If I think I am a devotee, I hear less and speak more. I'll be very enthusiastic to speak because what does it take to speak? People might think, wow, what the orator, Such a good lecture, Prabhuji. Very nice class. So, doesn't take too much to be a good speaker, but to be a good listener, it takes an effort. So we start hearing less. If there are programs, we will feel that programs are for newcomers. I have to be, more selective. Obviously, I don't have time. There is no this thing. So we start lesser and lesser hearing happens because I think I'm already a good devotee. If I'm thinking I'm trying to be a devotee, at every stage I'll still be eager. No, I have to still learn. I have a long way to go. I'm not a devotee. I'm just trying to be a devotee. Fifth thing that happens is I may start neglecting small regulations which I should not be doing. I may start neglecting, start overlooking. And those small neglects may land up being the cause of our downfall or having dual standard bhakti. The sixth one is that I start going on an ego trip. I'm the best. I know everything. There's nothing else left to be known. I go on my own ego trip. Therefore, it is said that Kali, the easiest way that Kali people can be discouraged is, it's enough. What you're doing is, okay, it's fine, So we become off guard in doing what we are doing. And many times we land up into what? Dishonest dealings, sometimes with devotees, with outsiders or whatever, that might land up. We may fall from moral standards. Because nobody is there to see at home what I am doing. Externally I may be appearing the best, but I may maintain secretive bad habits, which nobody knows, and today that is possible right here. Again, people can get into pornography. What you're talking about, pornography and devotees. No, sometimes it happens. We were having some habits and they just come back. There might be character deviations happening in us. We may get into immoral relationships, whatever, as we say, extramarital affairs happen, everything happens. And it is, all goes under the name of bhakti. But we are maintaining dual standard. And we may not be able to see, others may not be able to see, but who is seeing? Sometimes everybody is able to see except us. Everybody is able to see some you are having dishonest dealings with somebody, and we feel, no, this is all for Krishna. It's okay. Or we fall from moral standards and we feel like it's not a fall. It's just some compromise I'm making according to time, place, circumstance. But by doing that again and again and again, our standard lowers down. And it takes very hard to come back again because we have had a lot of energy we have put into try to control and come, and then it goes off guard, right? So there is always a risk involved. Devotees may tend to remain secretive because of fear of being exposed and tagged. Hence, may continue devotional attire, etc. on one hand and do all these other things which are not conducive for bhakti, right? However, the problem is what? In Kali, secrets don't remain secrets too long. Good for us. Good for us. Krishna loves us. It doesn't remain. And sometimes it comes out in a very bad way. But Maya will convince us that I could be that one exception. Everybody else's it will come out, but Krishna will protect me. But why should Krishna protect some immoral thing? Something wrong which you are doing? Something which is going to make you go away from him? Why should Krishna support that? He may support As I said, the mills of the Lord grind slowly but exceedingly fine. So Krishna loves you. It's not that Krishna didn't love Indra, so he sent those thunderbolts and it's because he loved Krishna, he loved Indra. That is why he did the whole Govardhan Leela. Isn't it? He wanted to protect Indra from this disease of entitlement which he had, disease of pride which he had, right? So the only way we have to understand is that instead of getting exposed in a bad way, I should not have dual standard bhakti. And dual standard bhakti, many times it comes in us after we become senior. Younger people are always scared. No, Baba, I don't want to take a risk. I don't want to do this. But when you are up there, it becomes the ivory tower syndrome that nobody can see so high. Huh? Sometimes you feel nobody is going to ask us, are we chanting? Are we following four regulative principles? Because it is understood. Okay, you are senior, you would be doing it. Right? So unless we sometimes have that fear, healthy fear is good of being exposed, then we will not do. And second is that even if we have had a slip or whatever, if we could ignite the fire of repentance, true repentance, not just verbal of feeling, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said, no? Now what more you want? That's it. Not like that. From within, we start feeling that no, I'm feeling really bad, I should not do it. And Krishna, please give me the strength, I will not do that. And third thing is, take shelter of a trustworthy, mature mentor. Even if we are mentors, we are counselors, there will always be people above you whom you can always go to. You cannot be that I am the senior most person. And even if I am the senior most, at least I have some equals. May not be a senior person, but an equal friend. That is what friendship in Krishna consciousness is meant for. If I have the fear of being exposed, that means I am doing something wrong. So, better I anyway stop it. But if I am even, whatever it is, I go and take help. Because sometimes I might find myself very weak. I am just getting drawn to keep doing the wrong thing. I want to stop, but I am not having the strength to stop it. So I need some mentoring. I need some external help. So real humility is that. Real humility is not just saying Vancha Kalpa Prabhupascha. Real humility is take help when help is needed. Go to somebody whom you can always approach without the fear of being judged. They may be in your congregation, they may be outside your congregation. If you have access to your spiritual master, you could go to the spiritual master and confess to them. But we cannot maintain dual standard bhakti because Krishna doesn't like that. You are something else, he will never empower us. It will be a matter of time. It's better to be a honest struggler than try to be a dishonest pure devotee. You won't be a pure devotee that way, right? And again, then we gain strength from our sadhana. We take external help, but we also can strengthen our sadhana that somehow or the other. Like I remember there was one devotee who was going through difficulties and his wife was sharing, that sometimes he chants so sincerely and he says that Krishna, I am not able to overcome it. Please expose me, Krishna, somehow or the other. Now, who would pray like that? But he is a sincere devotee who was very weak in trying to control himself. So he was praying like that. That Krishna, somehow or the other, I am not having the guts or the strength to go and confess it, but let me get caught. Then I will. And then once he was done that, he said, I am feeling such a relief of weight, that guilt that has come out, that I don't want to do dual standard bhakti.
One additional point in this dual standard bhakti is to listen to the voice of the inner conscience. As we become purified, the super soul, the Lord in the heart, becomes more activated and we can actually hear the Lord guiding us from within. Krishna does not falsely say when he says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upiyanti. Right? So the Lord in the heart is the voice of the conscience. Right? So all of us have experienced that when we do a wrong thing, when we speak a wrong thing, when we think a wrong thing, right? And if we have been reasonably sincere, there is a signal from inside that comes and said, you didn't do the right thing. You didn't speak the right way. You didn't think the right way. It's not just, you are not supposed to think like this, do like this, speak like this, right? So how many of you have experience of that you have something happening from inside? Right? Not all of you have got experience? I think all of us have the experience from inside, right? But if we are so proud, if we are so arrogant, right, and we are so hell-bound on falling down into Maya, that we shut down the voice of the Paramatma and we booch it up, the Lord will stop speaking to us. If we are good listeners, He will keep on giving the signals, but if we do not listen to Him, we definitely become deaf to this voice, right? And then we are on the free path to the royal road of degradation. Okay, so allow ourselves to be open to the Lord's directions as the voice of the conscience. Okay, so we finished 4 types of bhakti. This is the type of immature and fanatical bhakti. What is that? We're trying to define it here. Keeping unrealistic and impractical standards of Krishna consciousness at home or in our lives with close ones, right? An overzealous attempt to apply many principles of Krishna consciousness without consideration of the time, place and person, right? So we keep on hearing new things, hearing nice lectures, etc. But we need to understand that everybody around us cannot be in the same mode, the same fire, the same amount of commitment to the process, right? And you learn something and you start, Prabhupada said, aisa nahi karna hai. You don't do that at home. What happened to Charanji's philosophy? Yesterday was all right. Today is giving some new principles in the house. From tomorrow, band. Right? So you start doing things, strengthening the house, and people are not able to connect to this. What happened? We've been doing this for the last, 50 years of our life. Right? So this way, how to synchronize things in such a way whereby we gradually mold our families to accept the new principles of bhakti, rather than prematurely sort of imposing them as a forceful activity. Right? So that sort of thing may be very difficult to do. And therefore, when that happens, especially between husband and wife, for example, or even with loved one also, then the whole relation goes into disharmony. Somebody is going very fast. He wants to become da 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 da. And somebody said, come on, take it easy here. I have been used to all this sort of system. I understand what you are doing is right, but give me some time to adjust to the new reality which you are creating in the house, right? So when that is going fast and this is going slow, then there is a malalignment of relationship. Okay? So we need to be a little more mature on that. Earlier, we all have gone through this sort of thing in our house. And we learned when we were in college, we used to learn new things and we start practicing all that thing at home, right? And parents feel very, what happened to my son? What happened to my daughter? Till yesterday was all right. Now he's doing all these strange things in the house, right? So this does create. So remember this DKP principle. Is it the right time? Is it the right place? Is it the right person? Right? So everything has to be done with this consideration in mind, right? And therefore we require some maturity how to inculcate bhakti in an environment where others are not fully aligned to the process. And if you don't do that maturely, that creates what? Rift. That creates stress. Right? Leads to frequent conflicts with loved ones. People may become antagonistic. Right? They may not. The ISKCON is a great movement. Krishna is a great process. But they may say these Christian Muslims are all mad fellows. They're all fanatics. Right? We get labeled, we get tagged because of one person's behavior. The whole impression, see, the person not in ISKCON is going to judge the movement from whom, not by, he's not reading Prabhupada's books to judge, he's judging it by our behavior. You represent the whole ISKCON movement to your family. So if we are not doing the things rightly, properly,
Then they say ISKCON is bogus or ISKCON is like that. तुम्हारा वो भक्ति भक्ति है सब बेकार है. So they may all create some misjudgmental opinions on something beautiful thing like which we have on the bhakti process, right? Because our application of bhakti is not proper, right? So that fanatical approach should be avoided, and some discussion, some explanation, some do it in a very soft way, nice way, gradually, that can be done, right? Mature bhakti is which is supposed to bring peace and harmony in the family. Okay, be sober and patient, adapt to newcomers and make it Krishna a joyful addition to their lives, right? Because when even the way we present, what do you do in Krishna consciousness? Somebody just asked you this question, he said, well, we don't eat meat, we don't eat eggs, we don't eat coffee, drink coffee, we don't eat garlic, Is it Krishna consciousness? All the nose. Right? This is not the core of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a joyful process of happily, willingly living a life of surrender to the will of the Lord. By hearing His holy pastimes, reading the holy books, right? Being with like-minded holy people, right? Eating the holy prasad of the Lord, enjoying in festivals, celebrating various festivals, worshipping the Lord in various wonderful ways. So we have got so many things positive, but we think the word thinks that ISKCON means know this, right? We are far more yes than no's. Is it not true? Right? So we do not represent the process of bhakti properly to people also. That may create an improper impression in their mind. Right? To adapt. So be realistic and be a good example. So the main thing is to adapt to our new people. And best is not to preach too much to your family. घर की मुर्गी वो भी दाल पतली दाल गाड़ी दाल नहीं है एकदम पतली वाली दाल so I don't know value to that dal is there, right? So we will not be able to create a true impact in our family to the people. Therefore, be sober and be a little more patient with people.
We just take two more quick ones.
So we are not going to discuss 81 today, so don't worry. अरे 81 है अभी खाली 5 ही हुआ है. So no, so just a sense of relief. There are only 2 more remaining, and then we will conclude, right? That makes you happy?
So many of the sixth one is sub-religious bhakti, right? As we said, what is the definition of pure devotional service? Anya Vidishta Shunya Jnana Karmarya Navati Anukulena Krishnanu Shriyanam, which is devoid of jnana and karma. Okay, so somebody might say, come on, what about horoscopes? Vedic science. Of course it is a Vedic science. But what we are referring to is over-dependency. Please note the word. We are not saying dependency is wrong, but some big people become so over-dependent that they will not do anything. Drink water, go out or step out of the house, everything only on horoscope, whatever it says, right? So anything done in ati, too much, is not favorable. In a limit is fine. Like when we give our premarital seminars, there are some boys and girls who they become, like they are like 35, 40, they're still not married. And where they are stuck, did you meet any boy or girl? No, but horoscope has only not matched. So where is the question of going ahead and meeting, right? So they don't even proceed. So sometimes, and they are waiting for that 36 point or 34 point. It may not be like that, right? So sometimes you could, some decisions, even by meeting the boy or girl, how you feel, because ultimately you are marrying a person. There are people whose horoscopes match for 36. Like this very typical example is there, which we can never forget. One devotee was there, he was waiting for, he must have at least seen 75 girls. So many girls. And at last, the score matched 36, 35 and a half or something, 36. Said, this is the girl. At last I waited, but I found the right person. They got married and all. Within 1 year they divorced. After 36 points matching. Right? So is the science wrong? No. Science is not wrong. However, sometimes those who are... How many authentic astrologers are there? Like Prabhupada said, the last authentic astrologer was my spiritual master Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. But he said there are some astrologers even today, but they are all like munis, The same house you want to buy and you show to 3 astrologers. 2 will say don't buy and 1 will say buy. Or 2 will say buy it and 1 will say don't buy, and then that seed of doubt remains. Right? So the whole life you cannot live on the basis of doubt. Doubt is like a demon. It just corrodes our consciousness. When my mother got married to my father, the astrologer said that if you marry this man, your mother will die, my grandmother will die within 1 year. And she died just a few years ago.
30 years later she died.
Yeah, 30, 35 years later she died, right? So, it is so, unreliable science in today's day and age, right? So, to some extent we can base our decisions on that, but when we become overly dependent on all these things, we check the vastu of the house, we must. We show horoscope, we must. But when people break walls, in the bathroom they will make the kitchen. Sometimes in the toilet they will make the bedroom, and like huge changes they will make. And then after doing all that, something wrong happens, and then say, okay, now I lost faith in Krishna. Then after I did all of this, still why did this happen to me? Right? Just recently, before coming here, I met somebody said, I am losing faith. What have I not done? I see everything should be proper, and still these bad things are happening to me. This is all okay, Krishna is... But now, you never ask Krishna, you are going by all these things, and now why you are blaming Krishna for those? Right? So what is the catch in this? Over dependency, what does it result in? First of all, our faith in Krishna slackens. When we say Krishna is the ultimate controller, and it is said that when a devotee claps in Kirtan, what happens? The lines change. I said, oh, my line looks the same. One like this, one like this, one like... But it's not that the physical line, but your destiny gets controlled by Krishna. Mare Krishna Rakhe ki, Rakhe Krishna Mare ki. And this has been seen several times. There have been devotees who are supposed to astrology. You go to astrologer and they say that, should not say, but you could have a fatal accident. Be careful. But that's all that is needed. You will not get out of the house only. I'm supposed to have an accident. I'm supposed. Sometimes you die before you die. You will die before you are supposed to die, only you will die, out of that fear that something is going to happen to me. Something is going to happen to me. You will go into coma, you will go into trauma, whatever. You will get into all of that, right? And our mind becomes very superstitious. Always, if this happens, we say, a black cat goes by, then inauspicious only, you should go back and come back, and whatever things we might land up thinking. Small things, okay, but don't let your life be ruled. Who should be ruling our life? Krishna should be ruling our life. And that's what bhakti is all about. Bhakti should increase our faith in the Lord, not in other things which take us have, less faith in the Lord, right? And it defocuses the mind from Shuddha Bhakti. As it says that we are supposed to have Shuddha Bhakti means Jnana Karmadi. So somewhere all these things come in what? Karma Kanda. And as we are saying, important, but please note the word overindulgence. We are just talking of that. And there are many examples which are given, and one beautiful, we'll just take 3 short examples. One was at the installation of Krishna Balaram temple. Everybody said we should have, professional Brahmins chanting the mantras and all. So Prabhupada said what? You could have that to have acceptability by the general populace. But the main thing for me is the devotees chanting Hare Krishna over here. Second reason, during Prabhupada's final days, somebody told that Fala astrologer has said that we should chant the Mahamrutyunjay mantra for you. And by doing continuous Mahamrutyunjay mantra, you will be able to come out of it. Prabhupada said Mahamantra is sufficient for me. I have the biggest mantra, right? And third example is of Raghavendra Rai. There was a very, during Gaur Leela time, Narottam Das Thakur's time, there was a person called Raghavendra Rai and his son was Chand Rai. And Chand Rai was like a demoniac fellow, always doing all wrong things, so much so that, to cut it short, while Jagai Madai, how the Yamdutas and our Chitragupta was, Yamraj was saying that how to maintain account, he was as bad as that, right? And somehow by some turn of destiny, he was haunted by a Brahma Rakshas. And being haunted by that Brahma Rakshas, nothing could be done. They called tantrics and Agori Babas and this, that, and nothing was happening. So somebody told his father was Raghavendra Rai that you call Narottam Das Thakur. He is a great devotee. They were Devi worshippers and the Devi appeared, Durga Devi appeared and said that call Narottam Das Thakur, he is a great devotee. Even I worship Krishna. So he is a great devotee of Krishna, call him. So Narottam Das Thakur came and because of the power of his bhakti, he just told ghost, leave his body, and the ghost left. Whereas so many tantrics and all had done so many yajnas and pujas and nothing had happened, right? After that, Chandra had such a transformation of heart that he said, all this is bogus, only I have to do bhakti. So then he became a very nice person, transformed. So there were some people whom he had antagonized when he was a bad person. So one of them was a Muslim king. And he came to know that Chandra has become so mild, so he wanted to take advantage of that. So what he did, one time when he was taking his sandhya in the river, he just caught hold of him and like an animal dragged him to his kingdom and he said, the way you have treated me, now you see what I am doing. And he put him in a dark dungeon. Right? And he could not come out from there. So somehow this message reached his father, Raghavendra Rai. Raghavendra Rai sent a very, very powerful tantric by making a tunnel into the jail. And this tantric was so powerful that he just appeared in the jail where there was no access to go into the jail. And when he met Narottam Das Thakur, he saying, I will give you a mantra, just chant this mantra and you can get out of the jail. And Narottam Das Thakur said, the two lotus feet of my spiritual master, by worshipping them and by worshipping the mantra he has given me, that is the only mantra which I want to chant. I don't need any other mantras. And by that example, he showed so much faith that he was released because of that. Right? So again, as we are saying that we are not saying some small things here and there to be done on a practical basis, okay? But overindulgence makes us paranoid about things. So one should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior, and with faith and love one should surrender unto him. It's given in Bhagavad Gita, obviously. Right? And the last bhakti is what? Complacent bhakti. Right? So they say, as we all like to, when we started the race, it's like the hare and the tortoise. We start with a bang and sometimes end with a fuss. Because we start running, and then you feel, oh, I have come a long distance like the hare. Oh, now I can slow down and it's okay, something's here and something. I don't have to do tivrena, all the time sit on the gas, tivrena. There's no need to do that. And what happens then? There is a decline in enthusiasm, slackening of our purificatory struggle, and bringing about a level of easy going and inertia in the bhakti. We start stagnating. We feel enough. Now, I have done enough struggle, I have done enough services. Like we remember in our annual Kartik Yatra, there used to be one devotee who used to carry the sound system. Always be in the front. You carry the speaker and you're right in the front. And slowly he started coming little behind. And we said, what happened, Prabhu? And then he would give it to somebody else. He said, no, now we should give opportunity to newer devotees to do like that, And somebody was saying, Prabhu, is that or lack of enthusiasm that to be over there? Just a joking way, you know. So we have to understand that one life is all we get. But if we practice bhakti in the right way, one life is all we need. One life is all we get. And if we practice bhakti at the way it is supposed to, one life is all we need, right? So what happens when we become a little complacent in our bhakti? There start some signs of spiritual neglect, like we discussed yesterday. How do you know that my bhakti is becoming complacent? So few points on discussion came up that how do I analyze myself? Sometimes my rounds start remaining in the late night, right? And I have no time for good quantity or quality association. I'm busy. I'm too busy. Then I keep no seva connection with the temple or the mission. I feel enough service, now let new people do the service. Encourage the new people to do. That is there. But not at the cost of our giving up our commitments. Right? Infrequent reading of Bhakti Shastra start happening. Rising desire for mundane pleasures and material desires. Right? And we get slowly distanced off from what? Fired up association. Right? So what happens basically? The attitude of just posting along. What's the hurry? It's okay. Not this lifetime, next lifetime, not next, after 10,000 lifetimes. I will reach back to Godhead, right? I am on the path. So if that's okay with us, that's fine. But Prabhupada said ours is what? A pushing movement. One time Prabhupada was in Hyderabad and he was giving sannyas to one devotee who was only like 21, 22-year-old, Mahamsa Prabhu. And many people started telling him, Prabhupada, what is this? He's so young. He won't be able to maintain his vows. Why are you giving sannyas to such young people? Some smarter people were saying. So Prabhupada said, I have declared a war against Maya. I don't have time. When it is a war situation, sometimes you make every fifth person is made into a lieutenant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lieutenant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lieutenant. Whether you are qualified or you are not qualified, you get to do, right? So Prabhupada, at that age, he was saying that Krishna consciousness is urgent. It is an urgency. There is no time for, we know our Jayanand Prabhu, his disappearance day is coming now, right? Within few days. Jayanand Prabhu, original, Prabhupada's time. Oh, really? Great. He used to chant extra rounds. Our Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he used to chant extra rounds. 32 rounds, sometimes 48 rounds. And when they were asked, so he said, I don't have time. I don't have time to, I have to catch up with whatever I have lost. So that type of attitude, when somebody keeps, then what happens? We try to, when we come to Bhakti, we come on a spectrum. When we are talking of a spectrum, we are talking as if from like 0 to 100. So you come till 80 or something and then you regress back, 30, 40 is okay. 30, 40 is okay with us, it's fine. But a progressive attitude is what we always want to move forward. Shouldn't we be inching towards Krishna? Closer and closer and closer, so that bhakti becomes very easy for us. But all these types of, the various types which we said, they become like obstacles. We have a hurdle race. So in a normal sport hurdle race, everybody has the same hurdle. First there is something to jump on, then there is something to go under. Everybody has same. But Maya is such a sports person, she gives different hurdles for different people. I may get stuck at sub-religious bhakti. You might get stuck at dual standard bhakti. You might get stuck at complacent bhakti. It's not the same hurdle. So sometimes categorizing them in a black and white way, if the shoe fits us, we wear it. And it becomes a little more clear to us that it's not to tell somebody that, okay Prabhu, I am this 2 and 6 is mine. No, it's for self-analysis. We try to remember, we try to see where it fits in and how I can move ahead on the spectrum of bhakti. Right? So, what are the suggested remedies? We practice eagerness and gratitude for the rare jewel of bhakti and become actively involved in some responsible project. some responsibility we take on, right? And we realize that it is a rare thing which we have got, and if we lose it, we may lose the chance. This life we have got, who knows next life? We might say, next life I will continue. Fine, we will continue. But whether this nice opportunity will be available to us or no, who knows? So why lose out on what we have at hand? Better to have one bird in the hand than 10, outside, right? And then, if we are feeling like that, we increase association with fired up devotees who are involved in serious bhakti. That means sometimes we should like to be pushed. Usually we say, okay, please, give me my space. That's true. But sometimes some of us say, like, I am that type of a person, I like to be pushed. So at least somebody cares for me, that they are asking me, please, ask me, push me in some way. Because on my own, I may not be serious about doing that, right? So I think we'll just end in 15. Yeah. Same thing, rare, it is very rare. We have come into bhakti. And it has taken unlimited sacrifices by our worshipable acharyas and rivers of tears of our beloved Prabhupada to make us eligible to get this rare gift of Shuddha Bhakti. Everybody likes pure, na? If somebody gives you honey, is it pure honey? Is it pure ghee? No? We like pure, right? For everything we like pure. Then why get settled for any sub-religious or anything lesser than pure? Why not strive for pure devotional service in us? And ultimately it is, our souls can never be truly satisfied with the awakening of our intrinsic pure unalloyed love for our beloved Emperor of sweetness, Madhuradi. We'll never feel satisfaction. We may coast along, we may do so many things. So it's sometimes we need to analyze ourselves that how we can come out of our comfort zones and out of whatever level we are to strive to come on a higher level of spectrum and not just be satisfied at where we are.
Okay, the process of Krishna consciousness works, but we have to take the medicine properly. Problems start when we give the process. So take on is, we have something very, very rare. That slide we showed. It has taken 8.6 billion years for this planet to receive the mercy of somebody as merciful as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Right? If you and I are the recipients of something so rare, would we allow this rare opportunity to just slip off our hands because of all these things? Answer is obviously no, right? But if we take cognizance of these various types of mixed bhaktis and take the proper remedial measures, then we can turn gradually ourselves from the rough diamond to a beautiful diamond and shine at the lotus feet. The diamond will, where will the diamond be placed? And those who dress at deities, they know they put the diamonds in Krishna's ring, put diamonds on Krishna's lotus feet, right? The diamond will be picked up and put on Krishna's lotus feet. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. A lot of people are leaving. We are already making the plates.
I know.
We make
There's
the
no long
plates.
session. I'm not doing
No,
long.
what I'm saying is that we take some questions.
If there
Burning,
is,
if it is a burning questions, Prabhu was saying, I don't know what is burning means. Intense. Few. You can. In the meantime, I'll set it up. So,
but my question is, did you connect to this discussion today? Yes. That's important. And because it is not necessarily something which is coming from some scripture, but it is more experiential type of thing which we can share with our devotees, something which we see around us, right? And therefore, we just become aware of the spectrum of possibilities, and then stick to the path of Prabhupada